Yeah, I'm 10, 12 years in, I got 4 MVPs and 4 championships. Like, but do I still want to do this shit? You know what I'm saying?
Because you know how hard it is.
Some people say, I want to go play baseball.
Right?
Yeah. And then I want to come back. Well, some people say, I'm going to go 22 straight.
Coward.
Go ahead.
So you want me to pay you $30 million to play 30 games? Hell no. No. 80 games is fine, because I did it, Jerry West did it, Kareem did it, Magic did it, Bird did it, Bernard King, like all the great legends before us did it.
You play basketball 2.5 hours a day, 3 hours a day, right? That's your job. That's what you get paid to do as an NBA player. What are you doing the other 21 hours? I mean, to me, that's when you should be preparing for your next day of work.
The NBA just witnessed something nobody expected. Shaq delivered a message so blunt and so honest that it exposed the contradictions sitting at the center of today's game. And once it hit, LeBron James and Kevin Durant were left standing in the middle of the fallout, caught in the very behavior they've been criticizing. What makes it even wilder is the timing, because while Shaq is calling out today's stars to actually suit up and compete, LeBron and KD are sitting on a podcast laughing at legends twisting history and disrespecting the very foundation their success was built on. Everything kicked off when Shaq was asked a basic question about load management. His answer wasn't polished, wasn't planned, and wasn't sugar-coated. It was straight, raw truth. So you want me to pay you $30 million to play 30 games? Hell no. The way he said it carried decades of frustration that players from his era have kept bottled up. Then he pushed it further, pointing to the icons who laid the groundwork. Jerry West, who played through injuries that would sideline modern players for weeks. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar grinding through entire seasons with outdated equipment and prehistoric training methods compared to what players have now. Magic Johnson and Larry Bird putting their bodies on the line every night while earning what today as bench players make.
Artis Gilmore told me one time, he played for Chicago, he said, if you expect to play a long time in this league, you better quit mopping up the floor. And I thought, well, he's crazy, because that's what basketball is all about.
Bird takes it away from Wilkins, goes to the floor and gets it up ahead.
We come to practice, he's on one leg. Like he was hurt the second year, he was on one leg the whole year and played 82 games. Wow. Like, and so he practiced every day and he played every game on one leg. And so you're like, man, MJ, why don't you just sit up? How can I be the leader of the team and sit out and y'all going through all the credit? I gotta be there.
I twist my ankle, and I had a teammate, David Greenwood. He says, you know, you twist your ankle, young fella, come over and sit with me. You know, this is, you need to. I said, no, man, I'm trying to make a name for myself. There's no way I can sit. You know, I need to get out there and show what I'm capable of. I want to play. I want to win. I want to make an impact.
It might not be in the team's best interest, in your best interest, to play all 82. Is that something you thought about at all since you made the goal?
Man, that's a goal, but yeah, we'll see.
The next day.
I'm available to go and be in the pro. If OBJ shows up, he might score 100.
Those Warriors are the ones who turned the NBA into a worldwide powerhouse, building the revenue system that now pays modern players more in a single season than those icons earned across their entire careers. When someone asked Shaq if today's schedule has too many games, his response was sharp and immediate. Nope. In other words, stop complaining about generational money to play basketball a few nights a week. The old era dealt with real physical punishment, outdated medical care, long cross-country flights and cramped seats, and salaries that wouldn't cover what a current player spends on a car payment. Yet they didn't complain, didn't search for excuses, and never acted like simply showing up to work was some kind of heroic achievement.
This rest stuff just drives me crazy. You're playing basketball for a living, okay? I understand if you're working in a coal mine that you may need a rest day after it. You're playing basketball.
But the modern NBA wasn't ready for that reality check. Draymond Green fired back almost instantly, defending the culture of healthy players sitting out. Then Austin Rivers jumped in with the usual diversion. When the topic of enforcing minimum games came up, Rivers brushed it off. That's ridiculous. The older guys played all the games, sure, and now their knees are touching. And just like that, the familiar defense appeared, the one today's stars always lean on. They argue that protecting their bodies somehow excuses leaving fans hanging, fans who save for weeks or months just to afford a single ticket. As if earning $40 to $50 million a year to play basketball means you need to treat yourself like some fragile, endangered species that can't risk stepping on the court.
I mean, definitely forcing players to play. We saw what happened with the drill, but it's something that probably league wants to. I don't know.
Nikola Jokic pushed it even further, essentially admitting he believes being expected to consistently compete is somehow unfair.
But you have to really play hard. Does that hurt you physically?
No, because when I play hard all the time. You know, there's no turn it on here, turn it off here. It's just 110% at all times.
To have a long career, that's the goal, to be in the league for 20 years. I tell you, that's the goal.
You know, it's all about winning championships and winning.
And it's just basketball. At the end of the day, it's just basketball.
He basically admitted that being required to actually play feels unfair to him. Definitely forcing players to play, we saw what happened. But it's something the league probably wants to, I don't know. He openly admitted he'd rather not step on the court unless he feels like it. And that's exactly what Shaq is attacking, the entitlement wave taking over the league. Players complaining about workload while signing contracts that could bankroll entire countries. The average NBA salary just passed $10 million this season, and max deals are pushing close to $60 million a year. Yet, guys are sitting because they're tired from playing a game 3 nights ago. Meanwhile, regular working people spend huge money on tickets expecting to see stars, only to discover their favorite player is load managing while completely healthy. But here's where the entire story flips. Right as Shaq is calling out the culture of softness, LeBron James is on his Mind the Game podcast with Kevin Durant and Steve Nash, and they choose that exact moment to take a swipe at Michael Jordan's legacy. Durant started discussing the mental challenge of sustaining greatness for decades. You're 10, 12 years in, you've got 4 MVPs, 4 championships. But do you still want to do this? Some people say, I want to go play baseball, and then I want to come back. Some people say, I'm going to go 22 straight, and when Durant said it, the reaction on LeBron's face told the whole story. The smirk, the brief laugh, the small look of agreement, none of it subtle. They were clearly contrasting Jordan stepping away to play baseball with LeBron's uninterrupted career, implying longevity matters more than peak dominance. Then LeBron dropped the line that exposed everything. It's just basketball at the end of the day. The audacity of that perspective is unreal. This is a man whose entire life was transformed by the sport, going from an Akron kid to a billionaire with global influence, and he shrugs it off like it's some casual pastime. Jordan never spoke like that. When asked about his mindset, he said he gave the game 110% every single night. Because for him, basketball wasn't just a job or a platform. It was who he was, it was his obsession, it was the thing he lived for.
All right, Laker Nerd asks, why is the triangle offense less utilized in today's game?
To try to run the triangle offense right now, it'd be very challenging, just because how the game is played and also how defense is covering.
10 to shoot. Jake going right to the rack, no defensive communication.
Downplaying Jordan's era by suggesting the triangle offense wouldn't he succeed today, because modern basketball is too advanced. He was basically arguing that his generation faced tougher defenses, more complex systems, and better overall athletes. Then came the real tell. LeBron questioned why championships dominate every major basketball debate. I don't know why it is discussed so much in our sport and why it is the end-all, be-all of everything, but coming from the same person who helped create super teams in Miami, recruited stars to Cleveland, and moved to the Lakers when things fell apart, the sudden shift is obvious. He's downplaying rings because he knows he will never reach Jordan's 6. So he's trying to rewrite the criteria, moving the spotlight from winning to longevity, durability, and raw counting stats.
Why is ring culture so much more prevalent in the NBA than in other sports?
Yeah, it's funny, I don't know. I don't know why it's discussed so much in our sport and why it's the all be all of everything.
Like you mentioned a little bit about today's game, because we had Club on here and he talked about load management. He said, I don't know what the hell that is. Where is it going? And that's number one. And number two, how do we get it back?
Even for me, I love the NBA game, but then I turn on to a game, right? And then the stars are not playing because of load management. It's hurting the game.
LeBron's stance is actually hurting the game. Larry Bird once told a story that captures the mindset of the older era perfectly. Artist Gilmore told him, if you want to last in this league, stop diving for every loose ball. Bird thought Gilmore was crazy, because going after every possession was the very essence of basketball. Bird understood something Durant and LeBron don't. The game was never about preserving yourself for year 20. It was about emptying the tank every night, sacrificing your body to win and leaving everything you had on the floor no matter the consequences. That's why Bird only played 13 seasons. It's why Jordan played 13 full seasons. They pushed themselves to the limit chasing championships, not chasing long-term preservation or social media-friendly longevity. Recently, LeBron hinted he's already thinking about easing off. When asked whether 82 games is still realistic, he said it's a goal, but we'll see. In other words, he's already laying the groundwork for future absences, preparing excuses for games he'll skip even when healthy. Jordan viewed the job completely differently. You play basketball 3 hours a day. That's your job. What are you doing the other 21 hours? That's when you prepare. Jordan understood something today. Stars refuse to acknowledge. Being an NBA player is an extraordinary privilege, not a burden that requires endless rest. You're paid millions to play a game. The minimum expectation should be availability. Jordan took that responsibility seriously in a way modern players can't imagine. The fans work hard to afford tickets. I want to impress the guy in the top row who probably spent money he couldn't afford to see me play. He even cared about opposing fans. When asked whether the boos bothered him, Jordan said yes, because he wanted to silence them with his performance. Even guys from the generation after Jordan understood that mentality. Tracy McGrady once said there was no chance he was load managing when Kobe, Allen Iverson, Paul Pierce, or Vince Carter were coming into his arena. McGrady knew sitting out against great players disrespected competition and wasted the chance to test himself against the absolute best. And now comes the part Durant and LeBron hope everyone ignores. That baseball jab Durant threw wasn't just petty, it erased the worst moment of Jordan's life. Jordan didn't step away because he was bored or tired of basketball's grind. His father was murdered. On July 23, 1993, James Jordan stopped to rest at a highway area in North Carolina. 2 teenagers shot him, stole his Lexus, and dumped his body in a swamp. The man who pushed Michael to greatness, who believed in him through every triumph, who stood by him through every doubt, was gone, murdered over a car. And Michael Jordan, the most dominant player on the planet at just 30 years old, fresh off a third straight championship, walked away from the NBA to honor his father's memory and pursue baseball, the sport his dad wanted him to play. The game James Jordan loved, the one he always pictured his son playing, was the reason Michael even stepped into baseball. So when Kevin Durant casually throws out, "Some people play baseball," with that smug grin, he's mocking one of the most painful decisions in sports history. And LeBron laughing right beside him? That's co-signing the disrespect. Look at the timing of Jordan's retirement. Did he walk away after struggling? After playoff collapses? After failure? No, Jordan retired right after doing something Magic Johnson never did. Something Larry Bird never accomplished. Something Isaiah Thomas couldn't reach. He completed a 3-peat, 3 straight championships in an era where everyone said it was impossible. And he did it while carrying a level of trauma most people couldn't survive. His father had been murdered. He was grieving, he was shattered. And still, he dominated the league, then stepped away to honor the man who meant everything to him. And the irony becomes almost ridiculous when you consider who is criticizing him. Kevin Durant. The same Kevin Durant who made the most ridiculed superstar decision in NBA history. After the Warriors eliminated his Thunder in the 2016 playoffs, Durant joined them. He went to the 73-win team that beat him, a squad with Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green already in place. Fans still call it the weakest move ever made by an MVP-level player. And it didn't stop there. When Brooklyn got tough, Durant bailed. When expectations grew, he demanded trades. When pressure hit, he ran to Phoenix. This is the man implying Michael Jordan quit. Then there's LeBron. When Cleveland became too difficult early in his career, when the Celtics stood in his way, he announced he was taking his talents to South Beach. He formed a super team with Dwyane Wade and Chris Bosh instead of grinding through adversity. When Miami's window closed in 2014, he left instantly without giving Pat Riley time to rebuild. When Cleveland's situation started breaking down again, he moved to Los Angeles. Every moment of pressure, every setback, every challenge brought the same response. Switch teams, reset the narrative, find a smoother path. And this is who's laughing at Michael Jordan's sacrifice. Charles Barkley summed it up with brutal accuracy. He said these guys hide behind analytics handed to them by their agents. The real goal is career extension. Because depending on who you are, adding 2 or 3 years might mean another $500 to $700 million. Jordan never chased longevity. He chased excellence. Every season had one mission: maximize his gifts, elevate his teammates, dominate on both ends, and win championships. Jordan played 15 total seasons, but realistically only 13 full ones when you account for retirements. In that span, he delivered 6 championships, 6 finals MVPs, 5 regular season MVPs, 10 scoring titles, and 9 all-defensive selections.
Couldn't believe that an NBA player could make $1 million. And now these guys are so lucky and blessed, and they can't play basketball 3 or 4 days a week. And I know they hide behind all the analytical bullshit from their agents and people like that. What they're really trying to do is extend their career. The way the money's been and going, it depends on who you are. You're going to be able to make another $50, $70, $100 million and probably more going forward if you can extend your career 2 or 3 years.
That wasn't just excellence, that was sustained perfection stretched across an entire decade. Now look at Durant and LeBron together. Between them, they've played 39 combined seasons, nearly triple Jordan's true peak window. 4 decades of basketball, yet their resume as a duo 6 championships. 5 MVPs, 6 finals MVPs, 5 scoring titles, and 5 all-defensive selections still fall short of what Jordan achieved in roughly 10 years. Twice the time, half the impact. Fast forward to October 2025. Michael Jordan appears on NBC's Insights to Excellence series, where he's asked directly about load management and the modern trend of skipping games. Jordan didn't sugarcoat anything. It shouldn't be needed first and foremost. I never wanted to miss games because fans worked hard for those tickets. I wanted to impress that person way up top who probably spent money they couldn't afford. Jordan valued every fan in the building, even the ones who hated him. Especially the ones who hated him. I know that guy is probably yelling at me. I want to shut him up. He used hostile crowds as fuel, as challenges he was obligated to conquer. Jordan even referenced the legendary 1997 flu game, Game 5 of the NBA Finals against Utah, when he was violently ill, suspected food poisoning, bedridden until about 90 minutes before tip-off. He skipped warm-ups entirely, then walked out and dropped 38 points, carrying Chicago to a crucial win that put them one victory away from another championship. When the buzzer sounded, he collapsed onto Scottie Pippen's shoulder, completely drained. I was going to find a way out there, even as a decoy. Once you're competing, pushing yourself, you never know what happens. The emotions, the situation, what the team needs, all of that pushed me to gut it out. Jordan played all 82 games 6 different seasons and reached at least 80 games 9 times. The only seasons he didn't reach that mark were the year he broke his foot, the year he returned mid-season from retirement, and his final years in Washington. Eventually, the NBA had to intervene because load management became impossible to ignore. The league implemented a 65-game minimum for awards. If you want MVP consideration or an All-NBA selection, you must play 65 games. It was the league finally acknowledging the truth. Excessive rest was damaging the product, and fans paying premium prices deserved to see stars actually perform. But players keep sitting. They keep finding new explanations. They keep treating basic availability as if it's optional, like it's optional. The philosophical divide between eras has never been wider. Jordan's generation believed in honoring the game, respecting the fans who made it all possible, and showing up every night no matter the situation. The modern era is built around body preservation, career extension, and stretching earnings across as many seasons as possible. Yes, science supports rest and recovery. Today's players are bigger, faster, and stronger, creating different types of physical strain. But Jordan's era played through far more contact, more physical defense, harder fouls, hand-checking on every possession. Today's players have every sports science tool imaginable, every recovery method, every resource, and still complain more than any generation before them. Shaq's era built the league's value, secured the TV deals, pushed for better pay, and fought through the conditions that made these billion-dollar contracts possible. Modern players benefit from all of it, while often showing little appreciation for the foundation beneath them. Research even shows load management isn't doing what players claim. The NBA's own studies found no meaningful link between sitting out and reducing injuries. Players rest anyway, not because science demands it, but because they simply don't feel like competing. And that's why Shaquille O'Neal just exposed the biggest lie LeBron James and Kevin Durant keep pushing. He didn't just challenge load management. He reminded everyone what real legends represented. What true competitors looked like. Shaq, Jordan, Bird, Magic. They never made excuses, never ducked games, never mocked previous generations, and certainly never dismissed personal tragedies for podcast laughs. They respected the game, respected the fans who paid to watch them. They showed up every night and emptied the tank. Meanwhile, Durant and LeBron jump teams when adversity hits from super teams, when individual success gets harder sit out, when they feel tired, mock the greatest player ever, and try to convince everyone that longevity with fewer accomplishments somehow equals superiority. The conversation keeps going. The debate keeps heating up. But one truth is absolutely clear. When judging dedication, when measuring who honored the sport, and when deciding who truly embodied basketball's essence, Shaq and Jordan stand on one side. LeBron and Durant are on the other. If you think Shaq is exposing the truth modern players won't admit, drop a comment. And if you want more reality checks on what's actually happening in the league, subscribe. This story is nowhere near finished.